Hi, my name is Anne. Thank you so much for joining me today. I felt deeply moved to prepare this video for you. It has been a huge part of my personal journey, and I know a huge part of many others' journeys, and a very difficult one to experience. And that is dealing with narcissism. This topic is covered in great detail on YouTube and other places on the internet, and seems to be the source of many conversations, pain, trauma, and anger and resentment issues. And boy, I can sure understand why. It has taken literally years to get through a difficult relationship related to this thing called narcissism. I'm here to tell you that it is possible to get past it and to get through it. You can overcome the obstacles that are presented. And if you're feeling lost and confused right now and at a place where you don't feel like there is hope, there is. Okay? So I want to try and explore this topic in a little bit of detail from my own personal experience. First of all, it's not you. Well, let me take that back. Some of it actually is you. It is a combination. Like any relationship, it takes a combination of people to make a relationship happen. Without one, the other does not exist. So we need to explore and understand more about the dynamics of the narcissistic relationship. Now, much of this stems from our issues related to our childhood. And when we start investigating the root cause of why these relationships we allowed to exist in our lives, it often comes back to what we experienced in our childhood. Now, the dynamics of narcissism. Now, I don't particularly like labels, but this, to me, is really an issue of light versus dark. And it is an issue that we are meant to see and we are meant to explore. That may be a hard pill to swallow if you're just listening to this for the first time, but as you go through the journey of healing from this, identifying it, understanding it, healing, purging, clearing, as you go through this process and you start to see the light on the other side, you'll understand why it was necessary. So don't give up if you're on a healing journey. Now, in my opinion, this is really helping us, and I'm at the place now where I can say that it helped me. It helps us to see and recognize parts of ourselves that were previously hidden. They expose the darkness that exists within ourselves that we did not want to see. And I suppose we provide them with the light that they don't have within themselves that they want to see. So we are brought together many times from a karmic perspective to help us learn and grow on this journey of this lifetime. So what if you reflect back on, you look at your relationships and you start to uncover signs of this not being a positive thing, And you start to get little hints and tips from the universe. And you start to investigate and watch videos like this. And you start to learn about the dynamics that go into a relationship and what is healthy and not healthy. You have started your journey. And you start to learn that you are so much stronger than you ever thought you were, and that you deserve so much more than you are receiving, and that you are worthy of love. I encourage you to keep researching and following people that help you heal. It is the only way to get through it. But you also need to look at yourself, because in my case, what we call red flags or flags were waved in my face very often on this journey, and I chose, not consciously, I chose to not pay attention to them, because I think that I really thought I didn't want to believe it. But there are many flags and many indicators and many signs where my intuition was basically telling me that this is wrong. I didn't listen. I kept forging forward, believing that I could help them heal, believing I could fix them, and believing the lies, basically. And there are many. When I dove into this topic, I started to understand the drivers behind it, behind me, and behind why I would attract this into my life. And what I've concluded, and this is, I think, a lifelong journey, but what I've concluded at this point, after many years of venturing into self-healing and now coaching, is the experience is like no other. And that is something, unless you have been through this experience with narcissism, true narcissism, you wouldn't believe it. And we are often judged because it happens, in my case, very covertly. And what I've tracked it back to is the realization that there was a lot of that type of behavior in my childhood. So I grew up expecting that treatment. So I thought it was normal, and that I deserved it. Now, I'm not saying that the relationship in my case was all bad. It was not. There was a lot of goodness in it at times, but that is, in fact, the strategy. And really, it's that feeding of the highs and then the dropouts and the rug pulls afterwards that is something that you become actually accustomed to. The drama of it becomes something of a emotional habit. This video could go on for literally hours if I got into all of the psychology behind it. And there's so many videos out there on this topic. But the reason why it is so important for me is because I want to hit anybody who is at a point of trying to figure things out in their life, and they happen to catch me telling this story, and it triggers them in a good way to take back control of their life. And that is my mission in all of this, is inspiration. So what I learned is there was a lot of childhood trauma in me, and being an empath, being someone who is highly sensitive and highly open to this type of behavior, it was something throughout my life I got used to absorbing other people's energy, and we are attractors for narcissistic type personality. So I learned about myself, and I learned that I was giving away my power and I was giving away my control. And once I started to realize that, I could start taking it back and I could start being who I was really meant to be. And it uncovered and led down a path of just so much self-enlightenment that I am a completely different person today. So for that, I am extremely thankful. So in a way, this person, their role in my life was to mirror the darkness in myself that I did not want to see. Now, one would suggest there might be easier ways to go about that from experiencing this extreme emotional pain, which, if you're a deeply feeling person and an empathic type of person, you would relate to how deeply we can be hurt and feel these things. I am a stubborn person, and it took me a long time to learn these lessons because of the attention that I was getting is just such a pull, and the charm. But it wasn't healthy for me, and I had to learn the hard way. So what I have learned is self-worth, self-love, self-discovery, and conscious awakening. So I have to say there's definitely a payoff for me having gone through this experience. This is only part of the story, but this is the important message I want to get through, and that is, I almost believe that in order to reach real, true, higher consciousness, 5D energy, one must experience narcissism. That is a big statement, but it just seems to me that's a big brush statement. Of course, that is not true in all cases, but it just seems to me that there are so many people that are on this higher consciousness journey that experienced and are experiencing and are recovering from narcissistic abuse. So I'm going to make that correlation because I believe in a way that there is definitely a connection, and the only way that we can perhaps rationalize it. And you have to come to truths. You have to come to truths about yourself, and you have to come to truths about your relationships in your life. Not everybody loves the way you do. People can only love from their level of consciousness. And that is a reality. It's a hard reality for some of us, but it is a reality. So I became aware of so many things about myself on this journey. And I just want you to know that if any of this resonates, I really strongly suggest that you follow up on other learning videos around narcissism, codependency, being an empath. Actually, I'm going to do another one on that because it's also a very important topic right now. And really understand your relationships from a different perspective, and really try and understand it from a psychological perspective as well. And if you need help and guidance, there are a lot of practitioners out there. Pick a good one, because some of them are narcissists too. But there's a lot of good ones actually on YouTube, and check that out. Do some research and look into it, because you are important, you are loved, you need to be respected, and need to be happy. Find it within yourself first. Move away from those energies if possible. Learn how to manage energy around you, especially if you're an empath. But really look at things from a different perspective than you have before, at least to investigate it and to really see some truths, because now is the time that this is occurring for a lot of people. And I just want to see this beautiful healing energy affecting us positively across the board. And I know how hard it can be. I really, really do. It's excruciatingly painful to see some of these truths and to deal with some of this. But once you start to break it down, you'll see it's not really you. It's not who you are. It doesn't need to stay in your life cycle and in your pattern of life. It's meant to teach you important lessons. So I am sending much love to anyone who's picking up on this video. You can get through it. I am proof of that. Stay positive. Be kind to yourself. Thank you.